Town of Southbridge, a joint D.P.W Subcommittee meeting, Town Council meeting Wednesday, August 14th, 2024, 6 p.m. in the Veterans Council Room. Call to order. Roll call is Council Daniels.
Present.
Council Rivas is absent. Council Owazo
Present.
is stepping in to make the quorum. And Councilor Shenya, citizen member Cody and Basil absent. Number 3, review and discuss recommendations to award East Main Street Road improvement to A.F. Amarello for $2,617,098 to be funded from Mass Works grant, town funds, bonding, and previously authorized borrowing for road improvements, and authorize the town manager to sign all related documents. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to town council.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Town manager.
Yeah, first, if you could, we will be eliminating the word bonding because that, it's just the previously authorized borrowing, because we're not gonna bond for the road. Just, we had already authorized borrowing.
Well, I looked at bonding and borrowing is the same,
Yeah, so-
so we'll just scratch it out for Monday
Yeah.
night.
So, as you know, the East Main Street project has been going for a while. We went out to bids. I think the bids came in favorably to us. Rich can give you the exact, but I think it was about 600,000 below opinion of probable costs. We had done numerous changes to this project throughout the iterations to make sure that, because of the different funding sources that we had or didn't have, we made a good, solid effort to have a good project using the Mass Works grant. I will get the exact amount of money that we have left in Mass Works. Peg is managing that account, but she's on vacation this week. But that grant had come in at $885,000, and we had used some of that money for the design with McClure. And then we had already allocated $500,000 out of the retained earnings for the water retained earnings for this project, and $150,000 for East Main Street. So whatever we had in balance would have to be borrowed under what was authorized. We had the previously authorized $10 million that the council had passed many years ago, a couple years ago. So we would have to borrow that money to make this project work. From there, I will turn it over to Rich for any questions.
Rich? Is that anything you want to say?
Not much more than what town manager said. If anybody has any
Yeah,
questions.
we worked with all the easements to get the easements in place, so we worked with the attorneys for that. I know in conversations with Rich, originally there was scope to have the whole water line, a main replaced, but according to Steve Gregoire, he said that was not really necessary at this point. There was sufficient waters to go in place and the lines were in place. So that's why we're able to scale back the project from probably about a $6 million project to what it is today. Because we don't have to dig the whole road. And if anybody knows what's going on here today, I wouldn't want to find any ledge in that road. And I'm sure there's ledge.
It's all nice gravel down
But in any event, it's all scoped for the Mass Works project. We do have to have this project done by June of '25 for the Mass Works program. So we're on a timeline to work with Amarillo and get this going.
Councilor Daniels?
What's that?
Councilor Owazo?
How's that?
Councilor Montegi?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry if this has been discussed before, but this is the East Main Street itself, like this doesn't go into any of the old AO land or Len Street or nothing?
No, outside maybe some work in front of the K Street, because it's gonna go from the probably Moore Street, Rotary to down East Main Street, but there'd be some minor improvements, but not onto the property itself.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
And it will tie in, we already had it designed with the rail trail changes, so we've incorporated all that. So pretty much construction will be happening pretty close, about the same period of time probably. Some overlap, so it kind of works in our favor that the timing comes in place.
Sounds excellent.
Just one thing, I do know that on the council, relative to this, and it came up today because Hannah sent over, we'll have to do a motion to amend a previously adopted item from McClure Engineering relative to this project. Back September last year, as I came about, We had a change order for 135,000. It should have been 135, 500,000, and we had 135,000. So we have to amend it to make sure we have a change order so we can pay them through the accounting system. But I did up that agenda item tonight. I was just working on that. And what originally they wanted to do a motion to rescind, but because we've already paid for design, we can't rescind that action. So we'd have to just adopt a amend a previously
Amend
adopted item.
So that's going down to like the gas station just before Woodstock Road.
So the length of the project, it'll begin, but the bulk of the work will be from Morris Street south to just south of the North Woodstock Road intersection, and then from there down to the old rail tracks where our responsibilities end. That'll all be redone as well. So originally the water project was from Morris Street south to right around the M&D Motors area, Globe Transmissions. They were going to replace all the water mains, and dig up the whole road, regrade, change some of the grade on the road. That was a much larger project than I felt we needed to get involved with. There was just as Jack had said earlier, there was some questions about water supply. There's some hydraulic models that suggest that we should be doing that. It's not really a concern. There's plenty of water that comes in from multiple directions to feed that into town. So we, with the amount of work that's required in town, we opted to try to, cut back on some of the expenses for the project and get something accomplished so we could keep moving throughout the town. So, as a follow-up to Council Montigny, we are looking at the lens benefit. Dean doing some work on Mechanic Street, possibly a thin surface on the rotary to hold things together, and for that, for now, the remainder of the neighborhood lens benefit, Dean, North Street, we're looking at trying to get that all paved within the coming year or so, possibly with some grant funds to tie that into the TIP project. And we'll also be kicking off the process for what I've proposed for Central Street, Hamilton Street, and so on.
Awesome, but not optical drive?
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
No.
Council Kelly, anything? All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. Number 4, review and discuss request to pay 2 FY24 overhead door invoices totaling $3,029.30 from FY25 account number 001499-524-300-0499, repair, maintenance of buildings and grounds. Entertain a motion to recommend approval to the town council.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, town manager.
This was just the bill that popped up that we weren't aware of, and because we did not encumber the money, because it was unknown at the time, we have to have a 2/3 vote to have it approved at town council within the existing budget this year.
And it'll show that up on the council
It is on the
agenda,
agenda.
2/3.
Yeah, because this is just discussion to recommend it up, the council would be the 2/3 vote.
All right, discussion, anybody?
Just to add
Yeah.
some clarity, so I had Hannah put together, some notes on what happened with these invoices. So she informed me that Pete Preventure contacted Overhead Door for some needed repairs. Currently, they notified us that we were delinquent in paying some invoices. There was a discussion. They realized that the invoices came in. We owed them about $3,000 from work done in January and March, and it turns out they had been sending the invoices to improper email addresses. They were emailing the invoices, not mailing. So they were going to email addresses that are no longer used in the town system, so we didn't actually receive them. They've noted the problem is on their end, so they're apologetic that the situation happened after the closeout of our year, but obviously they're still looking to get paid.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, none?
Just one last thing, if I could, Mr. Chairman, just as point of information, it had been requested about repairs to private ways. So I have prepared a memo relative to the repair of private ways. We currently allocate $500 for that. This memo just outlines what the town bylaw is and what the steps would be. It would have to go to a D.P.W Subcommittee, meaning if so inclined to have the bylaw changed relative to that. But as the memo states, we allocate $2,000 per year. 2 years we didn't spend any money. Last year we only spent $1,100. And it's certain, the bylaw is specific on what we can and cannot do on those private ways. So I just give that as a point of information for this meeting for further discussion. That was asked at the
I
meeting.
discussed this with the chairman, and we feel that it's appropriate, since it's a bylaw change, even though the dollar amount is what we're looking to change, that it should go to general gov. So,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so-
I just, it was brought up as a D.P.W Subcommittee, so
right, that
that's the
was
memo.
originally the intent was to bring it here, but after further research and looking at the bylaw itself,
Mhm.
to make a change after talking with the chairman was, it has to go to general gov for a discussion. And I don't think we'll make it for tomorrow night. But
No, well.
the next meeting, if you could address that, we can have some discussion on how we wanna do this, if we wanna do it.
Okay.
Because, talking with Rich, this $500 eats up a half an hour worth of work. Or if you put 2 or 3 guys down on the job there, so the $500 go back in time. Council Lazo.
I favor some sort of movement on it. I'm not sure what the magic number is, but the thing is, $500 is kind of antiquated, or it's an antique number from so many years ago, that when you throw 3 guys on a job and a load of material, you'll blow right by $500. So for myself, I'm like, and if we have to change the bylaw where we, in other words, you don't have to spend it, but this is the first time I'm reading that, Jack, and I thank you for that. And I just think it needs a little work on the amount. If you're gonna do work, have the ability to at least allow the work to be done under these new rates that we use now. Contracts have changed, material prices have changed. I mean, it's a lot different now than it was when this first started.
We're gonna have further conversation about
Yeah.
that. It is incumbent on the abutters to all agree that this work is to take place, so
Right.
it's not just us going to do whatever work, whoever wants private roads.
Correct.
There is a process they still have to
Right.
follow.
So, I guess my question would be, what kind of work are we doing down there?
I refer that to the DPW director.
So, yeah, so what kind of work would we be doing on a private way?
Typically, it's just repairs to the road surface, so if there's lots of potholes and stuff, depending on the road, sometimes they're using millings, cold mix, or, maybe some asphalt, depending on, that's part of the problem. Like, a lot of the stuff, you could probably fix some of the potholes with asphalt, and asphalt, we're paying right around $100 a ton for. So if we go get a couple tons of asphalt, you're in it for a little over $200 plus a couple of guys hourly pay. By the time they go get the material, come back, they don't even. We're putting in more time regardless, but typically a lot of the stuff is being fixed with cheaper material, just because of the low threshold.
So, I guess my next question would be, so then what would be an appropriate number? We put this number in here, I don't know how long ago, or when this bylaw was written, probably 20 years ago maybe.
Right.
It's $500, so, counting for inflation and et cetera, what would be today an appropriate number? For this kind of what could, I don't know.
I just brought this up just
Yeah.
for further discussion, this is the process we have to go through, so it's good for further discussion.
Right, no, I think if it comes up to general government though, I would like,
Right.
Maybe
see
Rich can
some
come.
research on, as to what would actually be appropriate.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I could put together some information,
Yeah.
like, obviously it'll vary street to street. I mean, it says not to exceed, so basically you're looking at an up to number. Some of the spots that we could be making repairs to might only be a couple hundred feet long. Some of them might be a little bit longer than that. So, the length of the area that's being repaired obviously would determine how much material is being used. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, $3,000 per road, but it could be up to $3,000. And obviously it would be determined by myself or my operations department manager.
I guess, I mean, I would just like to know, you
Yeah.
know, what does it really, what is the real cost?
So
Because,
maybe
I
we
mean-
could have him come to the general gov meeting when this is on the agenda, and
Absolutely.
he can work on that in the next couple weeks.
Mhm.
I'll leave this with you.
Okay, I think I got, is that?
You got one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got one, thanks.
Well,
And just for the record, Council Rivas just texted me that regrettably, due to a family emergency, she couldn't be here.
all right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? So moved.